I wish we were recording. Okay, so I'm just gonna record. What's most fun to you and
What's most fun?
having so much fun with what they're doing?
Because everything becomes a little bit of a fun puzzle.
Oh my god, that would be so fun.
But it was really fun, and I did.
It's really fun.
What's most fun? Hello, Dennis.
Hey, guys.
You're an amazing effects artist.
Thank you. I almost said so are you, but I have never seen any effects animation that you've ever done. So for all I know, you might be.
The only thing I don't do is animate. Really.
I don't know if I totally recommend it.
Welcome to Most Fun Podcast, where we hang out with cool animation artists and chat about the surprising ways they stay creatively motivated by finding the fun in their work and life. I'm local bluegrass musician, Spencer Moran.
And I'm a literary savant, Tabitha Fisher. What does that even mean?
You know what it means.
Yeah, I guess I know what it means.
Let's talk about your writing, your approach to writing.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I guess we can do that.
Yeah.
Maybe I am a literary savant.
Mhm.
I like that all of my intros are very hubristic.
Very aggrandizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, because I'm a queen. Duh.
We've done Queen. You're savant now.
Yeah, now I'm a savant. We've moved on
A
from queen.
wonderkind.
Yes, that's right.
That'll-
A wonderkind. Okay, I'm going to use
A
that.
wonderkind, you got to use at some point, not to
Yeah.
spoil upcoming ones. So we're back in the very place where we spoke to Dennis
Oh, yeah.
back in February, I
yeah,
believe, of 2025.
that's right. And we have an upgrade. We're now sitting upright in chairs like
Yes.
adults at
Yeah.
a table.
Yeah. We're really grown up.
Yeah.
Really, all that's happened is there's a fold-out poker table
Yes.
holding all
But
the
listen,
equipment.
isn't that just like a Western viewpoint?
Oh, that
That we have to
higher
have
is
our
better?
asses
Right.
ass above ground.
Yeah, maybe we were wiser and more enlightened
Yeah.
back then.
We've just succumbed to the
Okay,
pressures
I
of
knock out the table legs. So, putting out this episode, reflecting on it now, almost a year after we had the conversation.
That's right.
I'll get into my actual takeaway. One thing I
Mhm.
want to say, I just, ever since listening to, like, revisiting the episode, I feel like Dennis's way of seeing the world has really, like, seeped into my brain in a lot of ways. Like,
Oh,
I get his perspective,
Yes.
and I can't help it, but every time I see him now, I want to reference his systems, which we'll hear about in the episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now that we've both listened back to our conversation with Dennis,
Mm-hmm.
we're just going to share what our thoughts were,
Mhm.
having listened to the episode after all this time. Neither of us know what the other has written down.
It's going to be a total mystery.
Total mystery.
Yeah.
And yeah, do you want to kick it off?
Oh man, there were so many takeaways I have, but I think the thing that stood out most to me is the idea of using structure as a framework to express yourself. So it's like he talks so much about this idea of systems and creating systems to play games and like have a playful mindset when he's developing ideas or exploring visual motifs and things like that. I just really like the idea of the framework as something that you can build upon and manipulate to discover something surprising about your work. Like, I feel like I very much connect with that, and I do these kinds of things myself. But the part that did surprise me, and I hadn't really considered, is that if you go too deep in that direction, it can actually be restrictive. So it's like a double-edged sword.
My takeaway was kind of connected to what you're saying, but more specifically about having one project that brings together all these diverse interests that he has and unifying them with his personal style. He does that with Skyward Isles, formerly Tales from the Sixth Sun. It's a graphic novel series, but then he's expanding now into a tabletop role-playing game. And I just like the idea that as an independent artist with a lot of different interests, there's the cliche or maybe the common problem with artists of being pulled in too many directions, the shelf of unfinished projects, you know? And I think that's the danger of having a very active, curious mind. It can pull you in a lot of directions. But if you can have that one house to have it all live in and design a project that allows you to express all these different interests and filter them through one story world, one set of characters, it lets you pour all your effort into one place so you can finish things.
Yeah, because that's so hard. Yeah. If everything is like a massive ramp up of a brand new idea, brand new concept, like that takes so much energy. And like, I think a lot of people can relate to the idea that getting started is one of the hardest parts.
Yeah.
But if it never feels like you're just getting started from nothing, then it's a lot easier to begin on a new version of what you're working on.
Right. So part of that is knowing yourself enough, knowing yourself as an artist enough to be able to make that for yourself, knowing how to make something that you're not going to get tired of.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Something that's like, oh, this is a deep vein.
Yeah.
I can keep exploring this indefinitely.
Right.
And as my interests go whichever way they want, it can all come back to this central hub.
Right.
That's really appealing to someone who also likes to do a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Finding that one roof to keep it all under.
Dennis Moran is an animation effects artist based in Ottawa, Ontario, whose work includes shows such as X-Men 97, Inside Job, and Scavenger's Reign. Alongside his animation career, Dennis writes and illustrates an ongoing graphic novel series, The Skyward Isles, formerly Tales from the Sixth Sun, with plans to expand into a tabletop role-playing game. Across all his work, Dennis's distinctive approach to shape language and his love of color create a cohesive and recognizable visual style.
You have your whole world of effects animation, but you also have a lot of other things going on outside of work.
That's true. Boy, do I ever.
Do you ever? Yeah.
Yeah, so I do a lot of stuff with the same project. I've been making this like fantasy world basically since it was like my degree project when I was a senior in college. And then a few years later, I started doing it as a comic. So I've made 2 books of this comic, Tales from the Sixth Sun. I'm working on the 3rd one now. But most exciting for me, I think right now, is that I've been writing a tabletop RPG that takes place in the world of these comics for the last year or 2. So it's similar to other more popular tabletop RPGs that I don't necessarily love. But so you're making characters, you're doing all kinds of magic and rolling dice and stuff. Yeah, it's really fun.
Did you base it off, like, do you use the structure of an existing tabletop game?
I sure don't.
No? This is your own?
Yeah. It's, because I really wanted
homebrew.
It's all homebrew, which I've been a homebrew DM for like 15 years.
Right.
Yeah. I did one, actually an X-Men one several years ago when I lived in New York.
Nice.
It was like made up how to translate characters into some game I made up. But yeah, so
this makes a lot of sense. 'Cause you like creating systems.
I love systems.
Yeah. So tell us more about that, because the conceit of the podcast here is to talk about what's most fun to you, and creating systems and even like languages and like codes and like all this stuff. So like, what is it about that that's so enticing?
I don't know. I think it might be a different answer for all those different things. I think the main thing when you first asked me what's most fun, my answer was sketchbook.
Right.
I really love just doodling in my sketchbook because everything becomes a little bit of a fun puzzle. A lot of the stuff with the game, I'm just like, oh, what would it look like if I made up a bunch of skyships, or like if there were all these different places that were like this or that. And then I love having like a set to fill out. Even if it's an arbitrary set, it just kind of helps to have a framework. I have like a sort of neurotic obsession with the number 9. And so every set of 9 has the same 9 vibes. So anytime I'm like, oh, I'm coming up with something, I'm like, well, what about 9 of those things where they're each hitting each of the 9 main vibes? It writes itself.
Right.
And I just have to jot it all down.
Right.
I feel like I'm channeling it.
Okay, so you
I know you asked me a question. I just started going off.
no, we went off in a lot
Crazy
direction.
direction, yeah.
I'm going to bring it back to sketchbooks, but relating it to the systems because
Okay.
Yeah.
we have a lot of discussion about how to keep sketchbooks and different
Yeah.
ways we've tried. Do you have different sketchbooks for different things, or do you have one sketchbook that like is sort of chronological, like a journal where you put everything and it kind of is
Yeah.
tied to the timeline rather than it
Mhm.
being scattered? I'd be interested to see, like, do you keep different journals and sketchbooks for different reasons?
I almost said that I do because I technically have different sketchbooks where I sort of have started things, but the actual answer is no. So right now I number my sketchbooks. I've been using the same size sketchbook since 2011 and I'm on 111, I think.
Whoa.
And so I
Amazing.
do them in
Wow.
because a lot of it also was I was taking class notes in my sketchbooks. So
Right.
I did the first like 75 of them while I was in college or something. It was like
Yeah.
I'm very front loaded. But basically there's two series. There's the main one and then there's a 4-inch high series that stays in my jacket. So those are very slow and I've probably got like 10 of those from the last 15
What
years.
size are the main ones?
The main ones, I think it's 8x10
Okay,
inches.
yeah.
But no, because I have other sketchbooks where I'm like, oh, this one will be for this project. And I just never think about it because I'm always in my main sketchbook.
Mm-hmm.
It's just all projects get worked out in the main sketchbook. You can't be too precious with them.
Right.
As soon as it's on a pedestal, it's dead.
Absolutely. Do you do the thing where you do cheap sketchbooks? I dabbled in expensive sketchbooks, but I found it affect the kinds of work I made because
Yeah.
I was over precious about the work. So then I went extreme end and I bought in bulk the cheapest sketchbook and I would like plow through one in a week. So I had a whole era
Yeah.
of this.
That's definitely something like the mindset with fancier, nicer paper is definitely something. I think I'm definitely that way with pens. I started with these moleskins that I guess were like a 3-pack that was pretty easy to get a bunch of them. But now I like a little bit of a harder cover because it takes me longer to get through the sketchbook, so it needs to withstand more months of being put in my backpack. But yeah, for pens especially, I'm like fancy pens I kind of don't need as much. I love a Sharpie pen because you can get
Oh, right.
Mhm.
12 of them for like $10.
Yeah. Do you do like the thin Sharpie pens?
Yeah, I'll show you.
Yeah, you got them, eh?
I always keep that thing on me.
In your pocket.
Oh, yeah,
Nice.
those are great. Yeah.
Yeah. And I really, because then I feel like you have the freedom to absolutely destroy it. Like
Yes.
I'm really
Yeah.
getting in the zone. I'm scribbling whatever, and I'm like wrecking the tip of it. And, it was only like 80 cents.
Yeah, I can't do refillable pens. Like that's
Yeah.
not
No, it would have to be like a replaceable felt tip
Yeah.
somehow.
Right.
Somebody
Nice.
should make that.
Nice. Business idea. Most
Yeah.
fun
Yeah.
felt tip pens.
Edit that out. that idea.
Proprietary
Yeah.
idea. Amazing. That's with the sketchbooks then. But do you have systems of approaches that you take for the different work that you do in your sketchbook? Like how do you make decisions about what to do at any given time?
I had a teacher once who told me that my sketchbook is more like taking notes on my life and thoughts, which I was like taking literal notes, but I think the drawings are kind of a way of doing that too. I kind of don't have separated, dedicated sketchbook time. I kind of just like keep it near me when I'm working. I just have it open next to me on my desk. And then I'll be working on animation or doing something, whatever, or in a meeting, and I'll just keep the pen to the paper and see what comes out. So, the 9 vibes, they each also have like a shape. And I'm kind of doing a few pages where I'm like, okay, how many different weird outfits can I come up with if you were somebody who was like obsessed with one shape and you could make anything you wanted? What would you wear? How would you do your hair? Like,
Right. Okay.
so that kind of thing where
cool.
I'm just like, okay, I'll just do like 15 of each of those.
Yeah.
So I'm about halfway through that.
It's like you're
idea.
gamifying it in a way.
Kind of, yeah.
Have you ever heard of this guy, Saul DeWitt? He's like an
Yeah.
old-timey programmer, contemporary art guy.
I don't think so.
I learned about him when I was doing my master's degree in digital futures, and I had a class where it was about like programming, but in the natural world and systems and organisms, which I think would be your jam.
I'm into that.
And this is like before computing. This is just when computing was theoretical math. He had created a series of like visual drawing games that involve making a set of rules, and then you use dice and the dice will determine what you draw. So for example, you can set, let's go with the number 9. So 9 different shapes, like as blobs, and then you roll the dice. Each roll, you'll get a randomized shape, and then that needs to become incorporated into the drawing. And then you just get these iterations that, like, I learned about this and I went, oh my God, that would be so fun to animate, because then you would get this randomized, gamified animation, like abstract conceptual animation.
Yeah, I love that. I think I've played something similar that was also passing the drawing between me and somebody else. So then you would get it back and it would have all kinds of new stuff on it.
Nice. So what's your approach to color?
I love color so much. It is my second great love after line.
And do you have synesthesia? Or
I am a polysynesthete.
what does that mean?
It means I have multiple types of synesthesia.
Okay.
They all kind of, to me, it's like the same, but when you look at like a list of types, I'm like, oh, I guess I have like 5.
Right. Which just means you associate colors with sounds or shapes or...
So I'll tell you.
Yeah.
So I have it's like sound, visual synesthesia. So music and sounds have like animation and texture and shapes.
Mm-hmm. So what's that experience like when you're listening to music? Like,
it's sort of like every part of the song or whatever has like its own little layer of animation.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I think, why I really like electronic music, because it's really clear, crisp. It's like the graphic design of music. And like techno is sort of more like looking at a textile, because it's like very much about how the pattern is sort of shifting and like layering on itself.
And are you picturing narratives going along with this? Or these characters?
Oh, no, it's almost
very shape-based.
Very, very rarely is it imagery. Sometimes it's sort of an image of whoever is singing. If I like am getting a strong image of that, it's effects animation basically. Okay, cool. I do kind of think this is why I went into it. Yeah. Yeah, my first film was kind of trying to visualize this.
Cool.
Wow.
Grapheme color synesthesia, which is like symbols and numbers and letters and stuff, all have like a really distinct color. One that I kind of gave myself by doing a bunch of synesthesia research in college was number personality synesthesia. This is the origin of the 9 vibes. That I was like, okay, I know all the numbers like 1 through 9 have like their own strong color, and I'm like learning a lot about color psychology. I could probably figure out like, 2 and 4 are both kind of a feminine vibe, but like, how are they different? And so I sort of thought about them and just realized what the qualities were. And now it's like 9 really strong archetypes. And like, those are kind of the 9 vibes.
Right. I kind of get that one, because sometimes you're like, when numbers multiply and the number that comes out of it, you're kind of like, yeah, that feels right. And sometimes you're like, there's something wrong about that.
Yes.
Those two shouldn't have multiplied.
I love those kinds of conversations. And like, when you just, I mean, maybe other people don't have these, but yeah, I had a great talk with a bunch of friends over the summer that was like, 55, like, divorced as fuck, like
amazing.
That kind of thing. And then the last one, which is one that many people don't realize is a form of synesthesia, is spatial time, which is like a sort of 3D structure that you either observe or inhabit or manipulate or whatever, that's like always been the same, but it's for visualizing amounts of time. For my schedule on a whiteboard next to my desk, I have 3 circles where the left half is the days of the week and the right is the weekend. Yeah. So it's like kind of a flattened version of, it's really a donut. And I'm making air quotes for the listeners. Like, it's very strong. Like, I am in one place and the hoop moves beneath my feet. And then like, think about bigger amounts of time. It's like a sidewalk and there's different perspectives and stuff for like different eras.
I think you were saying that you think a lot of people just do this unconsciously, right?
Yeah, I've told people about this and had people be like, yeah, well, everyone does that. I'm like, this is the classic synesthesia conversation, is that it's not everybody does that.
Right. It's like that thing where people go, well, everyone can visualize things in their mind. And
that's
some
also
people
true.
Don't have that. Yeah. Aphantasia. Or,
exactly. Yeah. All of these things came together that now I have, like, I write in my sketchbooks in this phonetic alphabet that I
wanted to get to that.
Made up, because it sort of started with like a number system that's like, okay, if this shape and this number are both associated with this color, then transitive property, like they can all be used interchangeably for each other. So it's really a symbol system that has an outer system of context where the symbols that you put around the symbols tell you how to interpret a very simple symbol. So like, depending on how I annotate a triangle, it's either talking about the number 3, the color yellow, or like the sound eh.
Right.
So there's a lot of layers.
And is that because you associate those those colors, those shapes, those numbers. Like, is that why? Is that how? Where
Yeah,
the
because
system
they're all
comes
kind
from?
of the same to me.
Right. Yeah.
Like when you hear Apple and you think about the fruit and also about like the phone company and
Right,
also like
yeah.
the
Right.
sound of the word
That
Apple,
makes
like
sense,
those,
yeah.
it means those things all together at the same time.
Right. Its main purpose to you, it would have to be born of those associations in your own mind for it to be useful to you. And I was realizing as we were talking about sketchbooks and keeping things separated, because I actually like to keep different sketchbooks for different things. And part of the reason why I was just kind of realizing this now is because back in the day, I used to have my journal was my sketchbook, was where I kept people's
Mhm.
phone numbers, was everything. Right.
Yeah, right.
And sometimes people would be like, kind of look through your sketchbook and be like, oh, yeah, sure. And then they'd see like some weird rant where I'm like upset about some like girl problem I'm having. I'm like, don't read that.
Right. Yeah, yeah. It's
This
like
is-
past that.
I
part.
forgot that was in there.
Right.
That's such a big reason. In the original, like when I developed this phonetic script, I was living in New York and I would write in my
Yes.
notebook on the train,
You have
and I
code.
literally was like, I'm cloaking this shit because I was writing about my dreams, like
Yeah.
my crushes, like weird shit at work. And I'm really nosy when I'm on the train
Oh,
and someone's
hell
writing
yeah.
or reading. I'm like just straight up reading that shit
Oh
over
my
their
God,
shoulder.
I was literally doing that on the GO train.
Yeah.
I was reading a juicy medical history of someone in front of
Exactly.
me.
Can
It's
I
like,
give you the sweetest
you
one I've
should have
ever
cloaked
had?
it.
I was at Moonbeam, and there was this like older person, so they had oversized text on their phone.
Yeah,
right.
amazing.
So it was like
Yeah.
really readable from across the room, and they were talking about like end times prophecy to some like
Wow.
like, they're having like an iPhone message about
Oh
like
my God.
about
Cassandra.
biblical prophecy, and so I was like, this is the juiciest over the shoulder thing I could be reading.
Yeah.
I love
so
that.
good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Perfect.
So yeah, I get that. But yeah, if you have your own, I want to correct myself, it's not a language.
No, yes, I'm writing in English.
Yeah.
I sometimes try to write in other languages.
So
to
would you
see-
say it's a code, or what would you? What's the term?
I call it, it's so boring now that I'm going to say it. DM phonetic cipher. My initials.
Okay.
Dennis Moran. Yeah. Or
Right. A cipher.
so I abbreviate it DMFS
Okay.
because I would use an F because it's phonetic.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Right.
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 You'd make a great secret agent.
I sometimes think so, except I'm really bad at being grilled.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really expressive. I think I would get caught right away.
Right.
But I'd be a really good like office spy.
Right. Code
you know?
breaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
Crack the Enigma code.
Well, listen, the American government has some issues right now, and they
Yeah.
might listen to the podcast, and that's how you get recruited.
Do they need a wizard?
Yeah, exactly. Amazing. You had done a film where you pointed out that yellow was really important in it.
It's important.
So is yellow 3? Did I catch that correctly? Right. So is there something about 3 in particular, or was that just for different projects, choose different systems to play with?
No, I actually feel sometimes that like I am imprisoned by the system being given to me from having synesthesia because it makes my skin crawl to look at like shapes be the wrong colors.
Right.
Which is
Right.
also something I've realized as I've like grown older and as an artist, like synesthetes kind of can't make art for each other about synesthesia because it's so grating to your senses.
Okay.
It's very interesting because like I wonder if someone who had some form of visual sound synesthesia would have an easier or a harder time learning my alphabet because they already know things that
Right.
have these layers of meanings that are too confusing to try to put.
It'd
this
be
other
going
system.
against their intuition.
Yeah, it would be
Yeah.
like, okay, we're going to learn this new language, except I'm just going to choose to make all these letters mean different sounds, but we're using the same letters
Mhm.
as a language you know.
Right.
So in that way, I don't really use other systems, but it's working fine. So I haven't got bored yet. But with yellow, to me, it's just like, it just clicks. Like yellow is the third part of like the primary trinary red, blue, yellow. It's like active. I feel like 3s are really dynamic. I really like how they stack. It's just really
Mhm.
chic, but it's like not too fancy.
Right.
Well, and then 9 is 3 3s. So it's
Yeah,
like,
that is very
yeah.
chic, like kind of fancy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I
just
like
love...
the idea of 3 being chic. This is great.
Yeah, 3's
I was
like
at my most chic at 33. It's true.
people always say, Jesus so chic.
Right.
But yeah, 3, I feel like it's, athletic, but like not famous.
So amazing.
Athletic, but not famous.
Like it's not important, but it's like,
It's like understated. Would you
Yeah,
say
kind of.
understated elegance?
hmm hmm
Am I a 3?
You have a lot of 3.
I have 3.
I mean, I used to do this all the time where like before there was the whole system, people
This
at
is the first
college
time
would make me
a
do
woman's
that.
been asked to be called a 3.
Yeah, honestly.
I like it. That's the messed up thing. I like it.
I have a lot of 3. I kind of have like, I used to think of it as colors, but I think maybe it's easier for me to put numbers onto it because it brings personalities to it for me.
Right.
But I feel like people have kind of a major energy and then smaller ones.
Yeah.
That's a
That
combo.
makes sense.
I mean, you could probably just go on forever and get more detailed about people, and everyone could just have like a 15-digit number assigned to them.
Yeah. Nice.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to do right
No,
now.
we don't need to get into that on this.
One of Dennis's great talents is his gift for finding new friends and bringing people together. He put that talent to work by starting the Ottawa Drawing Club. Through regular meetups at cafes, museums, and sunny summer parks, the club gathers a wonderfully diverse mix of professional and beginner artists, all united by a shared love of drawing.
But yeah, so Ottawa Drawing Club is something that I started actually because in the very early days of playtesting the game I'm writing, I had all these friends who I knew through a board game group, but they were, so I always, on my character sheets, it's important to me that there's a big section for a portrait of the character because it, you know, gets people to do it. And I just was amazed at some of the drawings that people were doing. These are like government workers or scientists, whatever, people who consider themselves like not someone who draws. And I loved like being unburdened. Like they didn't have ideas that like I literally studied illustration for so long. Like whenever I do a little drawing of a fantasy character, I'm like, I have all this baggage of how it's supposed to look and how to whatever, which, you know, most of it is like helpful, but I don't know. You get some really funny, weird stuff. So I just kept joking about it, and then it sort of became real because I was joking about it at Nature Nocturne, and my friend was like, make an Instagram right now. And I bet that like you could get people to join it at this party because there was like easels to draw the stuff at this party.
Joking about starting
making Ottawa Drawing Club like an official organization and not just me with my 6 friends. And yeah, so it's been really fun, and there have been people who came who I met because they saw it on their feed. But it's great having like people keep having these ideas for different stuff to do, and I'm like, the number one rule is that there's no structure and there's no pressure and there's no instruction or anything. I'm not gonna do anything. Like, I'm happy to look at your drawing and tell you like if you want advice, but yeah, we do drawing games sometimes, but it's only to like warm up or if people feel like it. But yeah, it's great. Lots of different levels, and it's amazing watching people improve. Like my friend Ellen, who was one of those playtesters, I gave her a sketchbook at one of the drawing club things because I have tons of sketchbooks, and she came back with a bunch of it was filled, and she had been looking up like actual drawing, not really tutorials, but like, you know, it'll be like an illustration that's like how to think about doing the lighting on metal. And she had just done a bunch of studies that were like amazing. I really couldn't believe it. Mm-hmm. Shout out Ellen.
So Spencer, did we ask Dennis what's most fun?
I think he got ahead of us.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he got there a little earlier in the episode. So
we didn't get to do our signature chant at him.
We didn't. We missed that opportunity. But we did get a nice clean recording of him summing up what's most fun for him. So we'll end with that.
Okay, sounds good. What's most fun?
The most fun for me is sketchbook, designing, like iterating on something. I love doing 15 teeny tiny drawings of the same shit, but slightly different, figuring out like, because when you draw it over and over again, this goes back to like, don't design in the final, where like, if you keep drawing something like your main character or whatever over and over, you just drop the things that don't matter. You just, it clarifies the shapes. Totally. It clarifies like what you want to get across with the design of whatever it is. Same with even just drawing something in the room. Like if you do a drawing of us sitting here with these mics, if you do it 5 more times, you'll just get a better sense of what you're drawing.
You become like you embody it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Head over to Dennis Moran XYZ, where you can learn more about Dennis, check out his awesome art, and buy some really cool stickers.
Dennis has the best stickers. They're shiny.
Yeah, they're very shiny.
And head over to Patreon for the full show notes, as well as exclusive content. Basic membership is free, but our Most Fun Rewards tier offers even more fun in the form of bonus episodes between the regular episode releases.
And now it's time for listener mail.
Yay!
Yay!
Everyone loves us. Everyone sends us mail.
Okay, so Luba G writes, in episode 2 of Most Fun Podcast, I noticed you missed an opportunity for a comedic callback to episode 1. During the intro, when Spencer says episode 2, Tab should have gone Scooby-Doo. I thought she was a trained improviser, so this lack of awareness surprised me.
I'm glad they pointed this out. I didn't want to say anything, but I did notice that you didn't take what I offered you in the scene.
Oh, shoot.
I feel like I really set you up for that and you didn't take it. I thought maybe you had some higher level game you were playing, but I don't know, you tell me.
The thing is, I'm a trained improviser, but that doesn't mean I'm any good. Just because you train at something doesn't mean you're competent. In fact, it's just as long as you're willing to pay.
Right.
And you earn the certificate. Like
the diploma. The
my
improv
second
diploma.
city level A to E certificate.
Mhm.
So-
Well, that was great constructive feedback. We have a really savvy audience picking
Right.
up on stuff like that.
That's right.
Hearing the notes we're not playing.
That's right. I love that. Listen, as a woman, I love criticism from the audience.
Yeah.
I can't wait till I get comments on my vocal fry. Then I'll know I've really made it.
Let's just say the Scooby-Doo was implied and we knew our savvy audience would be able to complete the picture themselves.
Yeah, that's right. Well, the
So-
Scooby-Doo, see, the thing is you've got to frustrate the want. See, that's an improv technique as well. You set it up so that the people are wanting the Scooby-Doo and then you rip it away from their cold dead hands.
That's the kind of post hoc rationalization I was looking for. Thank you.
Incredible.
Yeah. All right. Let me reach into my mailbag. Let me just open this up. My letter this week comes from Lucia, and she asks, what's the best animation note you ever got?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Mhm. The best animation note I ever got was literally one word, and the word was cartoon. And you only get to that level of note built upon a deep working rapport with your director.
Right.
Because I was doing some revisions on an episode and he gave me a sheet of notes for different scenes. One of them just said cartoon, and I knew what he meant because it just referred back to a conversation we maybe had a couple of weeks ago. Those are my favorite kinds of notes, where you read it and you're like, we've developed such a shorthand here. There's so much efficiency built into that.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And I think that's really underappreciated in TV production a lot of the time, where it's like, you might be able to acknowledge, oh, it's the people, the individual talent of the people that makes something run. Obviously, you need good systems and schedules and all that stuff. But there's such an advantage to having that working rapport
Right. Yeah, where you can answer.
where you're just in
Like,
each other's heads.
Yeah, finish each other's sentences.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah.
It's a good way to work.
And you can't buy that.
No.
That just has to happen
Yep.
naturally. Yeah.
And it happens in person.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So for all you 2020 graduates who've never been in studio, it's time to commute.
It's time to return to work. We're issuing a return to work order for the entire Ontario animation industry.
Yeah. But not Quebec. Quebec does whatever they
No.
want. We don't want to touch Quebec. We want Quebec to
They
stay
don't
a part of
respond well
Canada. To the Anglo part of the country
Bossing them around.
dictating, making demands on them.
And that's okay. They're doing fine.
Listen, they got Denis Villeneuve. They don't need us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Tab, who's our next guest?
We got Shane and Ross from Premium Fantasy.
Nice. Double guest.
Double guest.
Using all 4 mics.
Yeah, finally we get to use all 4 mics in the kit. It was very exciting.
Mhm.
They're amazing artists. One is an animator, one is a designer, and they've combined forces to produce their own animated series called Wizard and Champion for YouTube.
So good. So funny.
It's so funny and it's so witty. It's beautiful, but it's also really raunchy.
Yeah.
It feels like it would be at home on Adult Swim.
Yeah, and it
It's
also
like-
feels like the work of a big team of people, and it's just two of these powerhouse demons
Yes.
of animation.
And they would like that we called them demons.
Yes.
Because that's very much on brand for premium fantasy.
Yeah. And speaking of which, our next episode will be our very first explicit language warning episode.
Yeah, we won't be deleting
Yeah,
or
that's
beeping
too much,
out.
too many beeps.
Yeah, it would just be like,
Yeah, one
for half
sustained
an hour.
tone. Yeah.
yeah.
But no, it won't be a sustained tone. It's a very, really fun conversation we had with them. Again, that was another one where we talked for like almost 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in addition to being super talented, I could talk to either of those guys for hours. Just really interesting how their brain works and
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also really interesting to
how
talk
their.
to.
I like how I said how their brain works.
Well, it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
It is. It's a duo, right? So
yeah.
it's like really interesting to talk to a duo and
Mhm,
see
true.
like their complementary skill sets. How do they work together? So we get into that topic and more on the premium fantasy edition of Most Fun Podcast.
Most Fun Podcast is a Most Fun Studio production and a member of the Podcavern Network. This episode was edited by Spencer Moreland, with production assistance from Tong La, and was produced by me, Tabitha Fisher, and Spencer Moreland. Our theme music is by Jazzy Spencer Moreland.
Season 1 of Most Fun Podcast was produced with financial assistance from ASIFA Hollywood's Animation Educators Forum Faculty Grants Program. The views expressed in this podcast are those of the speakers and are not affiliated with any institutions, organizations, or employers, including Sheridan College. Thank you for listening to the Most Fun Podcast, and join us next time for even more fun.